Hello, everybody. I know it's been a while. We planned on doing a finish up on the movies, and that's still in the works, but I get the feeling I've neglected talking to you all, especially about some of the more important stuff that's going on right now, because just about everything stopped because of this disease that if you mention it on YouTube, you get demonetized. Well, they never monetized me, so I get to say it as much as I like. And I don't mind if they come after me. Now, truthfully speaking, I'm not your average gifted person because most of what I deal with is, my guides are not, they don't usually direct me in spiritual matters as much as they help to guide me in this world, because I'm very much a foot in the other side all the time, all my life. In fact, there's very few things that ground me and make me only see this world and only focus on this world in my life. And so I guess it was a perfect balance. And I wanted to, tell you about them. Now, Airmid is the first one that came to me. Janice was instrumental in making me look where I didn't want to look. There's an episode of Doctor Who where the doctor is trying to explain something to one of his companions. Like, forgive me, I've forgotten because it's been such a long time since I've seen the episode, but he explains it. Look in that place where you don't normally want to look, and that's where you'll see it. Now, in his case, he was telling her about some kind of horror that was attached to her body that was making her dream endlessly. That's not what I'm talking about. I just didn't know. I didn't see. I didn't feel, because I'd been made to feel alone. I didn't see Airmid. And when finally I looked in that place where I hadn't looked, I was brought in contact with Airmid. Now, you can look her up. She's apparently the goddess of magic and herbalism. And because of her, I didn't die when I was 5 years old when that thing came after me in Wales. You all know the story. For those of you who don't, you can look in my video list and look for a life slightly different. Because before that point, I wasn't anything like what I am now. She had to pop open the limitations that exist within my own crown chakra. I wasn't meant to be what I am now in order to keep me alive. And I'm humbled and feel overwhelmed knowing that she was there and she was quietly influencing my life, because I was diametrically opposed to the idea that I wasn't alone, because I always felt as I was. A few weeks ago, probably about 4 weeks ago, I was introduced to her brother, Miach. Her brother, Miach, was the deity in Ireland of medicine. Now, I've never had a feel for medicine, truthfully, but healing, that I do, which back in that time period, medicine and healing were synonymous. Now, medicine is more allopathic and palliative than panacea. It's not really heal. It's help the body cover the problems until it heals itself, which is the next best thing to having something that can simply wipe away the issues and the illnesses and the diseases that we suffer. So that brings me to the reality that if I have these two very different guides, what do they do for me? Well, in a day-to-day thing, Airmid will actually guide me to help people with food and eating. To give you a small anecdote, when I was at the local Winco here in Lancaster, California, and I had gone past the fruit section because I was going to go pick up some mushrooms as well, so that they were still there across from the grapes and tomatoes. They were in the cooler section. They've now moved them. And I was going to pick them up, and I looked over my shoulder and I thought, I don't really want to get grapes for the kids, especially my youngest, because I don't know if they're in season. And she says, they are in season, go over there. Oh, okay, I'll go get the grapes. And she says, not those. I'm like, which ones? Pick one up and smell it. But which? The green ones. Okay, I pick up the green ones. And the first thing I notice is, my God, there's a smell like fish. And I don't mean fresh fish. Oh, look, it's fresh fish. Trout. No, like the kind that smells like it's been sitting on the docks for a few days. And holy Jesus, why is this smell coming off my grapes? And I said that. Now I say that out loud, and I'm talking to her in public. And I can't help myself because, I asked, why'd you make me smell this? It smells awful. It's like fish. Why would anybody buy this? Because I said that, 6 people, including a bodybuilder female who just picked them up, came and brought them back as they're watching me have this conversation with Airmid, like I'm some kind of a fruit lunatic. It looks like that to most people. So I've come to accept it. And they all put them back, and they stand there waiting, like to see what I'm doing. And it reminds me of that commercial where the guy says, well, Charles Schwab said, and then all of a sudden everybody's quiet. And he's like, and the commercial's like, when Charles Schwab speaks, people listen. And this is a similar thing. So when Airmid talks, fruit buyers listen. It's not just fruit, but it's, all produce and herbs. But I felt really conspicuous. And he says, now pick up the black ones. Now, keep in mind there was green and then purple. And then there were black ones, which are just really deep purple. I never heard of black grapes before. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I've never heard of such a thing. And I go, why not the purple? She goes, pick up the black. Okay, pick up the black. And I pick up the black. She goes, what do you notice? And no fish. And I say, there's no fish smell to it. And now all of a sudden everybody's picking up the black grapes. So this is the kind of stuff I usually get roped into with Airmid. Now, Miach is much more recent. And because of all the healing that Barbara Faith Charlton has done with me, apparently he's come into focus, and he was always there as well. And so he's been trying to get me to step forward with what I know, what I have learned from medical doctors who are actually specialists in this field and who have been talking about this for ages, and I mean ages and ages, about how to improve your general health and well-being. I won't go into it in too much depth. I will give you some explanations of it, but this is really important. And now more than ever, because we are dealing with a viral crisis on this planet that has the potential to wipe out 14 million people easily. According to what I've been told, 13.8 million will be the most precise number if this goes out of control, and if we don't approach it with the most severe gravity and appreciation for how dangerous it can be. I've already been through the coronavirus. I've already had it. My whole family's had it. We've had symptoms that we didn't even associate with it because people hadn't said that they were part of the disease, such as my pink eye, which I thought was my blepharitis acting up, and I'm washing my eyes 5 times a day. There was an abscess behind my left ear and one on my forehead that I had to squeeze out, and we're talking full abscess. My son had a rash. My roommate had she had some kind of a skin condition all across her décolleté, and my wife had what they call corona toes, where they were bruised and itchy and uncomfortable. And we didn't know these were symptoms of that disease. We just got through it. Luckily, very fortunately, I don't know how. I'm not going to say it's Jesus that did it. We were just one of the lucky groups stuck in one house that dealt with 105-degree fever, chills, aching joints, inability to walk. Okay, it sucked. You don't want to be exposed to this, because imagine all these problems, including the dry cough, magnified to a level where you are hospitalized in agony on a respirator praying. Okay? I'm talking to you about this because I don't want this to happen to you. They don't want this to happen to you. And they've been goading me to do this. And I sat down to write a script on this 4 times. And finally I decided, enough. I can't really write this out. I'm going to just have to go on improvisation. I'm going to have to go from the gut and pray that I don't get sued for telling you a reality. Not that the government's out to get you, not some conspiracy theory, not this is going to heal you. No, I'm trying to improve your chances. That's all I'm doing. Get this through your head. This is not to save you if you are sick. This is not going to bring you back from the edge. This is for all those people who want to fortify their systems to give you the best chance possible to be able to make it through this crazy and through every crazy day thereafter, because you don't have to be worried about the coronavirus to benefit from what I'm about to tell you. This is just some of the most basic knowledge that I've had working 28 years in this field of nutrition. I have 2 degrees in nutrition. I have been led to this because I did not even realize that I was so in tune with my guides. They never spoke to me once, and yet 100% aligned with my life trajectory. And so all of this benefit is for you. Please, please listen. Please listen to me and improve your chances. I'm not saying that this is going to fix everything. I am not claiming a cure. None of these information that I'm going to give you is to promote a natural substance as a cure, a mitigant, a panacea. It's just in order to help improve your health. I have included a link to Dr. Matthias Rath's drrathresearch.org. The man is a personal hero of mine. He was a protege of Dr. Linus Pauling, who was also picking up the knowledge that had been mostly generated by multiple Nobel Prize laureate Dr. Albert St. Gyorgy from Russia, who'd done huge amounts of research on vitamin C. Yeah, that is the strange data that's coming out, Corn, but it's not true, because we know from the CDC, we know from the World Health Organization, we know from multiple agencies around the world where this has gone crazy, that it is much more deadly and much more dangerous. It's nothing special, because we don't know what it's going to take in order to get us free of getting this ever again. So I would highly recommend that whatever source that you got that data from, that you look a little deeper, because we now know it is much more dangerous. The flu will cost the world about 175,000 people in a year. And that was an average based on 2017 to the 2018 model. That's a year for the whole world. In the United States alone, we are over 200,000 deaths. So we put that to bed right there, and that was in a month. Okay? Hello, Pharaoh wife. So we know that it's more dangerous because in just one country alone, we beat the ever-loving fuck out of the numbers. Okay? So here I am to help improve your chances at not getting dead from this. All right? So the first thing you have to realize is that the basics for any nutritional program is going to be making sure that you get everything you need and more. So you start off with a multivitamin. Now, I'm not saying that you have to get this brand. I'm not promoting Winco over any other brands. I like this as a general brand. There are brands I don't like because I know they're bad, and I can tell you more easily about which ones to avoid than which ones to go with, because believe it or not, there's a ton more good ones than there are crap. Centrum and Theragram M are my most hated because they don't even digest. Say hi to them for me too. Okay, the reason why Theragram M and Centrum don't digest is because they're made out of pre-gelatinized food starch. Think hairspray. Okay, the stuff doesn't break down. It has a better chance of catching fire. So a good multiple vitamin is going to give you multiples of what you need. The USRDI, recommended daily intake, okay, is the minimum, not the maximum. Minimum is the lowest amount you can get away with and survive, not thrive. You want to go well above that. By the way, there are no listed deaths of hypervitaminosis or vitamins for humans anywhere at any point in time, period. There is nothing as well tolerated by your body as vitamins. So this is one of those situations where you don't have to worry about going, am I taking too much? Because the answer is no. I'm going to post this later when I actually have time to go back and feed this into the video. Dr. Linus Pauling had been doing lots of research on vitamin C, and one of the big myths out there is that, oh, well, if you just pee it all away, what's the point in taking it? That's incorrect. The vitamin C is probably one of the most important vitamins you're going to get in your system, because in order to maintain the integrity of collagen in your body, collagen is basically the fabric of your body, all of it. There's going to be variations on how much mineral content it has, how flexible it is because of the mineral content, how much water it has, that sort of thing. That's the only variation. But when they say, oh, I'm mostly made out of water, bullshit. You're mostly made out of collagen, which is protein. And how your body helps to make it is right here, vitamin C. When Dr. Linus Pauling was doing research on vitamin C on himself, because he wanted to put that myth to bed, he actually started taking urine tests of himself to see how much of the 10 grams of vitamin C he was taking per day. That's 10 grams per day of just vitamin C alone. And he was losing only 10%. That's 100 milligrams. Sorry, that's 1,000 milligrams out of the 10. Okay? So that means 100 milligrams out of every 1,000. When Dr. Rath picked up and started taking his research onwards, he found that there were supplements and substances that increased the body's use of vitamin C. Now, you're going to be asking, well, why is vitamin C so important? Why is collagen so important? Here's why. Cancer and viruses both travel through the body in almost exactly the same way. They have to get through the collagen netting of your body so that it can get into the cells, so that it can invade and start making lots of versions of itself. And they do it in almost exactly the same way. They have extrusory portions that grab onto the cell, hold on, sort of like a reverse suction cup, and then release an enzyme from this end, which is called neuraminidase. Neuraminidase breaks down the collagen net at the lysine level. So basically, it goes after the lysine in the collagen because that's the lowest amount of amino acid that it has to try and chew through, and then breaks in and goes in and then starts using your mitochondria, which is your cell's powerhouse, to start making lots and lots of little copies of itself. And then it sends it all throughout your body. If cancer can do that and it gets away, then that's called metastasis. If it's a virus, that's called spread. And it goes throughout your body and starts causing damage in other locations. And that's a problem because once this virus spreads, it continues to multiply in as many cells as it can get into. So your first line of defense is keeping it the hell out of your cells. The way to improve how much it keeps out is with lysine. Now, you may have heard all the benefits of lysine. Just by itself, they in the 1970s used to tout it as a cure for herpes. It's not. But they do make different ointments and creams to put lysine on your lips if you suffer from herpes complex and you get eruptions, and it helps to heal it faster. But taking it internally minimizes how long it's with you, how big it gets, how big the outbreak spreads. And I've seen pretty bad outbreaks where it looked like somebody was whipped with a cat o' nine tails from here all the way over to here. And it can be very brutal. And lysine taken in large doses, 1,500 to 3,000 milligrams daily, is usually quite helpful in that regard. But taken with vitamin C, the two work together. Now, the reason being is because lysine and vitamin C, along with the amino acid proline, are the chief components in the formation of collagen. If you don't believe me, take a look at Dr. Rath. He even has interactive apps you can download on your phone to show you how it works. It's fun for the kids, and it also is interesting to look at because they have the ability to zoom in and zoom out. I'd love to actually get that on camera and be able to put it into the feed. So once you've got those two parts down, the next big important thing is going to be getting a higher level of B complex in your system. Now, they've done research on B complex that has shown that high levels of B complex helps the body deal with lung irritants, being around high levels of pollution. That's also one of the articles you'll be able to get in Dr. Rath. I would love to actually pull all these up, but the man has literally thousands of research papers that are documented on that page, and it's just, you go there and let your mind boggle. It's amazing. I've read through literally Yeah, 7/8 of it, I think. Yeah, at least 7/8 of it. But he keeps adding more, and it's hard to keep up because, oh my God, the amount of research coming in from around the world and what his people do for free, because his company is not for profit. Any profit they have goes directly into research on everything from AIDS to cancer. Okay. So high levels of B complex help with that one issue, especially with the lungs and the homocysteine levels. And higher levels of B complex is also a definite good thing for those who need to be able to move not only sugars through their system, but are looking to be able to grow healthier proteins in the body and make the collagen more supple and look younger. Truthfully speaking, the more B complex you take for the longer, the less you seem to age, because it literally helps all of the other multivitamins do their job. Now, I can't show you one of these, which is green tea. Green tea is actually shown in several studies to be potentially it stops viral loads from being able to easily proliferate, which is to say that one of the active ingredients in there, which I believe is EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, is supposed to be the most effective on blocking viral loads and cancer transmission. And this is one of the few herbs out there that's known to do this. So I always recommend people get a good standardized, listen to it again, standardized. If it's just capsules of green tea, you're better off just drinking the tea. Works more effectively. Standardized green tea is the equivalent of having hundreds of cups of the green tea in just a little capsule. Think of it as higher octane. They're taking out the EGCG, and in this case, the ECG and the EGCC and all of those others, and they're just putting it just into the capsule. If you think I'm just spouting out letters, I'm not. There's 8 epigallos that are in green tea. They're called, oh my goodness, I've forgotten the term for them. Whatever it'll come to me in later, and I'll just spout it off like a raving professor behind his podium. And that one's something that you should be taking daily anyway, because it's a very small insurance policy to make sure that your body gets a good defense by raising your offense level. Now comes the finale. Arginine. Arginine there's actually a Nobel Prize on the guys who discovered that consuming 6 grams of this stuff daily reduces your risk of dying of stroke or heart attack, and is the original research substance from which they extracted the idea that what was that little blue pill that everybody was talking about for ages? Oh my God. They were marketing for erections, but it wasn't. It was for actually heart disease, because they'd found that arginine helps with the uptake of nitric oxide a lot, which keeps smooth muscles functioning properly. And that's really important, especially if you're trying to maintain a proper heart blood pressure and heart rhythm. Well, can't remember what it is. Well, you know, the little blue pill. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's probably better I don't mention it by name. Probably get into trouble with the company that's putting it out there. And but this was the original substances that they'd researched that found that 6 grams of this stuff did a ton. Now, one of the things is that the big pharma does is they try to draw analogs between natural substances and drugs that they already have on hand for similar effect, or they try to create a drug because they can market that and have a huge price tag, trying to get that same amount of money. Viagra, there you go. Trying to get that same effect. But it really doesn't turn out the same way. Take, for instance, one of my favorite bad examples, which is aspirin. I don't know how many people are still taking a baby aspirin every day because they were told by their doctor, it'll help you with your heart problems. It won't. And all the research is well overdone and has disproven this 4 years ago. I already was following this way back when they first started doing the recommendations, and none of it followed. None of it followed at all. Let me give you the exact criteria for which they recommend. Originally, we're recommending baby aspirin, and then people started taking it, and the doctors turned it into, oh, it'll help you with heart disease, and we're about stroke, and you'll have a less chance of a heart attack. Here was what they found. Pardon me. Okay. In a small study that they did, they found that taking 81 milligrams or 82. I can't remember what the amount was, but that's the amount of a baby aspirin. For men, not women, because the signs for men are better known and they're taught to men. Keep this in mind, ladies. The symptoms of a heart attack for women are not the same as men. Okay? Promise. Because they're talked about to men more often knew when they were having a second heart attack. And so took it and increased their survival rate by 50%. Now that sounds awesome, isn't it? In that regard, that's amazing. So keeping it on hand when you've had a heart attack and you know that you might have another, even if you're doing all the supplementation in the world, let's say it happens and you pop that baby aspirin, you increase your chances of survival by 50%. That's amazing. From there, we got to, you should take it every day. You should take it every, once daily, twice daily. It'll help you with heart disease, heart attack, stroke. I can't remember all the different things it was touted for. And the most recent one just blew my mind because I didn't even know that they were recommending it as a fantastic way to keep bones from becoming brittle. And it turned out it's the exact opposite. Now, aspirin is a bastardized version of a naturally occurring substance in white willow bark called salicin. The chemical version is essentially Dr. Scholl's wart remover that's been exposed to air. I'll wind that one backwards. Aspirin is Dr. Scholl's wart remover that's been exposed to air. Now, if any of you have ever used Dr. Scholl's wart remover and you put the drops on and you watch it dries and it turns into that white powdery substance, like, what's that white powdery substance? That's aspirin. It's called acetyl salicylic acid. Now, when you put it in the liquid on your wart, it's salicylic acid. Exposure to oxygen causes it to acetylate and turn oxidized and becomes acetyl salicylic acid. So keep that in mind the next time you reach for aspirin. So it keeps you honest with, do I really have a headache that's that bad that I need aspirin? Okay. And keep in mind that this is a COX-1 inhibitor, which means it goes, you know what, your inflammatory process, we're going to stick both of our thumbs in it and squeeze so that it doesn't happen, not as easily. Modern zeitgeist would have you believe that inflammation equals damage. Not true. Inflammation equals your body's trying to fix damage. Rewind. Inflammation indicates your body's trying to fix damage. Anything that shortcuts or causes that process to not occur had better be well effing thought out. Back in Nostradamus's day, they used to believe that washing wasn't important, that washing your hands wasn't critical, and that the best thing you could do was bleed the area that was inflamed or red because the body had too much blood in that area, or too many humors, or the ether is wrong, or, oh my God, I'm going to sound like Dr. McCoy because it's just the goddamn Middle Ages, okay? And it was stupid. They thought that having somebody who was supposedly holy bleeding on you from self-inflicted wounds with a flagellant would protect you from plagues. So keep this in mind, that some of these crazies are holdovers from that, okay? We're chasing after non-existent things within the body. So let's move forward to modern day, back to the aspirin. So you'll be saying, well, what is the alternative? What should I be doing? If aspirin isn't going to be that cure-all, what should I be doing? Well, the supplements I just mentioned, but also one more. Vitamin E, natural. Okay? They did a 10-year-long study in women. In women, not in men. They did it in women, giving them 650 IUs, that's international units, every other day of vitamin E. And it was found to reduce the average risk of a heart attack, first one, not second, in women by 75%. Now I need to go find this study because I need to splash it all over my page so I can go, see? When I used to work in the nutrition industry, we used to get faxes every day with all of the bibliography and where to look and who did it and such like that. And I really wish that I kept all these papers and just put them into a big folder and pulled them out whenever it was somebody decided they wanted to start beefing with me and gripe my harshing my mellow. And the other thing that I definitely recommend is, please, for the love of God, make sure that it is natural vitamin E. They're not now telling you it's natural vitamin E because they relaxed the requirements. And you don't know unless you know what I know. And that's pretty damn sad. Now, vitamin E has 8 different versions. They're called isomers. They're all similar in effectiveness, but they all do different things. And vitamin E, is not for your skin. This is not for your skin. Okay, I'm going to tell you that one. So listen to me. I actually had an argument with a guy who does acupuncture, and he says, you don't know better than me. Yes, I do. Vitamin E's proper name is tocopherol. That's tocopherol. It's 2 Greek words that means child, birth. So if you value your reproductive organs, you're going to be taking this daily anyway. Okay? Now, there are 4 tocopherols, and there are 4 tocotrenols. Those are the other side of the equation. There's alpha, beta, delta, gamma tocopherol and alpha, beta, delta, gamma tocotrenol. And those are the 8 different versions of vitamin E. And every last one of them does something slightly different, and it's great to get them every day. If you can find a good and expensive mixture of about 400 IUs of all of them, God willing, it's not too expensive. I recommend that one highly, but next best is just get alpha tocopherol and get 400 IUs every single damn day. It's one of the best things you will ever do for your health. Now, I mentioned some of these things, and I want to express how my vexation, because you hear everybody go, oh, that's an antioxidant, that's an antioxidant, that's an antioxidant, when everything's an antioxidant, nothing's an antioxidant. Let me clue you in on what are antioxidants. Vitamin C, natural vitamin E, okay, and selenium, and preformed A, not beta carotene. Beta carotene is not a vitamin. It is a precursor that your body can possibly turn into A, but usually doesn't if you're diabetic or you're over the age of 12. So you can eat carrots till Ragnarok, and it's not going to be as helpful as taking a preformed palmitate version of vitamin A. By the way, I forgot to mention D alpha or D beta, D delta, or D gamma are all natural. If it says DL, it's synthetic, which means it comes from coal tar. Avoid that one like the plague. You want just one letter in front of the alpha, beta, delta, or gamma. It's got to be D. If it's DL, it means it's the, what do they call it? The inverted version, which means that the D shape of the vitamin E is the other side, like it spins in the other direction, like an L. Okay. So vitamin E, and the only mineral that is an antioxidant, which is selenium. So no, green tea is not an antioxidant. Red raspberry is not an antioxidant. Your favorite jam is not an antioxidant. Your radishes aren't antioxidants unless they have those vitamins. Okay, that's what they are. What antioxidants do is really crucial. Okay, and keep in mind that when you take them all together, they actually recycle each other in a big continuous loop. Every day, we're exposed to substances that are, and you've heard of free radicals. And you're going to go, well, I've heard of free radicals. Well, what is a free radical? A free radical is an oxygen molecule that is unstable. It is missing one of its electrons. Oxygen is normally surrounded by 8 electrons. And one of those electrons, if it's missing, makes it a free radical. And when that free radical bumps into any other substance that has an electron, which is every damn cell in your body, it will steal one and will take it for itself, and which is like a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't fix the free radicals problem. That oxygen molecule is still going to be unstable. Eventually, that electron is going to kick off, and then it's going to look for another. Antioxidants give up one of their electrons. They literally have tons of these things. If you were to look on a diagram as to how they work, they simply go, here you go. Like popping out electrons from a Pez dispenser. Here you go. One for you, and one for you, and one for you, and one for you. And they stop that cascade of damage, because once one cell is damaged, it goes, it's like, ow, you took my baseball. I'm going to take yours. And then the next one, and so on and so on. And it keeps on doing damage all the way down the line. They like to explain it like rust. Rust is a kind of oxidative damage, but it's not even chemically similar. It's more like going into a college cafeteria and being like Bluto from Animal House and going, food fight, and getting everybody punching each other and throwing food at each other, and the place just turns into a gigantic mess, and nobody remembers who started it. Meanwhile, it was Bluto, the free radical. And so these antioxidants quench that cascade of destruction, and that's why they're so important to your health. They keep everything going, and they keep everything healing itself ideally. By the way, when I said vitamin E isn't for your skin, you're probably going, well, what is for my skin? Vitamin A. Vitamin A makes up the only part of your body that is made of a vitamin. The back of your eye. Anybody know what it's called? I know there's a huge delay. You guys are probably going to answer, but it's called the retina. Now, does anybody know what vitamin A's proper name is? I can name all of the vitamins, by the way, by their proper Latin and Greek names. So it's not whether I know it. Just I keep thinking about it. I used to shock people. But the preformed vitamin A that you can get from liver, cod liver, and from some other nutrients out there, but liver is actually the most prolific source, because your body stores it in your liver. It's called retinol palmitate when it's in its oil-based form. Retina. It literally creates the shiny spot in the back of your eye so that it reflects light so you can actually see. Because our diet started being lower in animal products, liver and things like that, they started infusing it into milk. Along with vitamin D, because we were pasteurizing the daylights out of milk and killing the vitamin D. And so kids would get, rickets? Forgot the disease where the bones don't grow straight. I think it's rickets. And so they started infusing it. Yeah, retinol palmitate is the proper name of vitamin A. But the back of your eye is the retina. So they started infusing our foods, knowing how important these things are. If you've never wondered why in the hell there's vitamin A and D in my milk, why are they putting A and D in my milk? That's why. Because we've damaged our food source so much, and we're so reliant on plants. Sorry to you vegans out there, but I don't care. You have to supplement it with proper sources that your body recognizes. And unfortunately, we are meat-eating animals. We have to. And whether you get your source from an injection or from a pill, that B12, if it's going to work, is always from an animal source. So the first time you get an injection of B12, zings out, you're not a vegan anymore. And no amount of taking the plant-based versions causes your body to take it up and turn it into something else. It can't be done. So vitamin A is how you maintain the health of your eyes. It's absolutely crucial. Without it, you start suffering from different problems. God starts to turn out the light in your world. Everything dark becomes darker. Night blindness. I don't know if anybody's ever suffered that. I haven't, because I had cataracts. I thought I was suffering night blindness, which is why I was taking huge amounts of vitamin A. And they tried to say that the vitamin A is lethal. I love this one, because when I did the research on vitamin A, because, oh yeah, it's dangerous, it'll kill you. They've done studies on it. No, they haven't. They did a study on giving it to rats in huge doses. And if they gave them the same amount of water, it would have killed them. But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say, okay, well, X amount of vitamin A would kill a rat. Why? Because rats don't need that much vitamin A. They are nocturnal. We are diurnal. which is why we see so great in the daylight. Anybody who's had a pet rat knows that they tend to shield their eyes from bright light, and they like to stay away from how dark it is. And if you haven't trained them to be up during the day more than at night, they tend to be more active and playing around and breaking stuff in their cages and squeaking at night when you really want them to just go to sleep. Yes, because the plant source of iron that's generally used on a constant basis comes from yeast, so it's really hard to handle for some people. For the most part, I usually recommend, if you're going to get a plant-based iron that's not animal source, I usually say, oh goodness, go with ferrous gluconate, which actually comes from molasses. It's easier to tolerate, much easier to tolerate. It's not as bad as the yeast-based one. The yeast-based one makes me vomit. Just smelling it. Oh, gone. No, and so it's the animal-based versions and the ones that you can get. It's more than just that one, Danielle. I mean, it's B12 is not an active source. There's no such thing as a viable B6. There's no viable A. There's no viable D. They want to take the vegetarian version, which we know actually will cause problems, because you can take it till the cows come home and it does not pick up. The body will not pick up ergocalciferol is what it's called. It's known as D2. Believe it or not, there's 3 versions of vitamin D. The most viable source for humans is called D3, called cholecalciferol. I could do this all day. Oh my God, this is easy. Geez, all this information. It's kind of funny that my guides would push me in this direction, because it's really interesting stuff. The more that you know about nutrition, the more you know that everything is going to be based, your future health, on this. Your future happiness is going to be based on how much you know of how to take care of yourself, how to speed your healing, how to promote your own healing. And hold on. I'm going to need to get more flavored water. Those are good. While I was sick, I was pounding down, because I normally do this, 10 grams of C, which is split into 2 groups, 5 and 5, 6 grams of lysine, which was, 3 grams of lysine, which was 1.5 and 1.5, except when I got the really big pills, which were 1 gram each, and then that was 4 a day, so it was 2 and 2, because I like taking them in equal amounts. Taking all my other vitamins and supplements every single day. And I didn't let up. I think there was one day that I missed because I was in so much pain. I mean, we're talking, the COVID makes your joints feel like somebody poured sand into every one of them, and better yet, broken glass. And every time I would do this, it felt like I was trying to squeeze one of those tension balls, and I couldn't get my hands together, and I get to right about here, and then I try to make a fist. Every knuckle that I had here and all of the metacarpals were aching. And I thought, God, this is the worst flu I've ever had, but I've never had a flu like it. And I've been through the South African flu. And then, because I have Guillain-Barré, I inherited that from my mom's side of the family, and so did my eldest son. We both started suffering Guillain-Barré syndrome. And let me tell you what that's like. It's like trying to walk on stilts, and the ground is all covered in pillows. It sucked. It sucked so bad. And there was a couple of days where I couldn't even turn my head this far. And oh God, I remember my jaw, because I'd been slugged so hard by something when I was a kid. This jaw, side of my jaw, just was aching so bad right through here. It felt like somebody had put a drill bit through here, and it was coming out this side. And it just kept on spinning and spinning. I'd go to bed at night, and I thought, I don't know. I'm never going to fall asleep. Somewhere around 4 o'clock in the morning, exhaustion wins, and you just go down. And I wouldn't want to do that to anybody. Hey, whatever works. Seriously, Corn, whatever works. If you found good sources, remember that there's no universal. If you find that if you take a supplement and it doesn't agree with you, try a different version of it, honestly. And I always recommend this as a standard. please, unless it has to be in a capsule, don't. Capsules are actually hard to digest. They're made from, essentially, wood fiber. I know you're going, wood fiber? Yeah, cellulose, wood fiber. So when it gets wet, it gets very sticky. As opposed to tablets, the wetter they get, they slide like, well, like ice. They actually have several layers of what's called microcrystalline silica on the outside. And so they just, I think that's a flow agent for when the machine's blowing them together into the tablet press. But they break down much easier. The only thing that breaks down easier, I found, are these fantastic herbal pills that this Himalayan company used to sell. I love those herbs. Oh my God, they're fantastic. Not in a capsule, in a pressed tab that falls apart really easily. And you can swallow a bunch of them and it doesn't feel like you're trying to swallow down a goose egg. And it's wonderful. But they don't make them anymore. Forgotten the name of the company. I highly respect them. They make one of the best liver support formulas out there and can be taken all the time because it doesn't contain milk thistle. Keep that in mind. There are herbs that you should not take long and some that should not be, in my opinion only. Okay, nobody else is going to back me up on this one. Shouldn't be on the market at all. So okay, let me highlight this, Daniel. Okay. What insights can you provide about stomach ulcers? Oh, not at this point if it is H. pylori or stress induced. Guess what? According to all the research, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The big solution is getting stuff to the point where you start to heal. And guess what? It involves more acid. Apple cider vinegar used to be the general cure a long time ago for people who were dealing with ulcers or stomach problems. So increasing the acidity level of what's in your stomach used to be the go-to. Now everybody's afraid of, GERD and esophageal erosion and It's when you have those problems, it's caused by your stomach not having enough acid and then not being able to get rid of the food. And so the stuff gets squishy and filled with acid, but not enough, and it starts to push up into the throat. Once again, that's not the acid, that's the food not digesting all of your food. And it could also mean that you're getting too many carbohydrates. And so the stomach gets filled with them, and those have to wait until the protein passes, and that requires acid to digest to then slip through. So more acid, apple cider vinegar, also getting D-mannose. As far as I understand, D-mannose had a lot of fantastic potential when helping people with bladder infections. And bladder infections actually proliferate in a similar fashion to H. pylori. Now, the H in H. pylori stands for Helicobacter. Helicobacter basically means it spins. If you ever look at it, it looks like one of those little dolls that when you put them on on a thing and then you pull the ripcord and then their arms come up like this and then they start spinning in place and like a little helicopter and then they come down really slow. Only thing is that spinning actually is part of a drill system. So it actually goes in and drills itself into the mucus lining on the inside of the bladder and the stomach. And so that's how it's able to get past your own natural defenses and being destroyed by the stomach acid to then go into the mucus lining, work its way down through the mucus lining to the skin, which is this actual stomach wall, drills the rest of the way in and starts doing its damage because it's a bacterium. So your solution is going to be D-mannose, cut down the carbs, more acid, and vitamin B6. I know. Where did that one come from? B6. B6 is actually the way that your body maintains the ability to process and create salt acid, also known as hydrochloric acid. Proper name is pyridoxine hydrochloride for vitamin B6. Hence why I said more B complex. A great many problems usually are solved by getting a good multivitamin and lots of B complex. It really does. It breaks down to almost half of the problems that anybody goes into a nutrition store, almost half. I'm not going to say it's always half. Depends on the store, the location, the foods that most people eat in those areas, etc. And so usually speaking, a multivitamin and a good B complex. That's where you start. And then you tack on other things if you need them. And if you don't believe that I take a lot of different supplements, I will take a snapshot and I will put it up on my Facebook page so you can all see it. I have, there's lysine, arginine, multivitamins. I'm taking magnesium, melatonin, echinacea, which I got to take my second dose for. And I'm going to get onto that one in a minute because that's primarily what's been helping me with my healing. I take, goodness, I can't remember what's on most of that wall. I take a ginseng complex. I take ginkgo biloba because it's really good for memory, warms up cold hands and feet. Fantastic supplement for just helping to maintain blood flow in general without thinning the blood like aspirin would do. Oh yeah, that was what it was. Aspirin, they were saying take aspirin because they were saying it would help with dementia, like avoiding the chance of dementia because there was research that had been done on ginkgo and how it helps blood flow. And they were saying, well, the closest analog to drugs is aspirin. Oh, I remember that now. God, how did I forget that one? God, that was maddening. I remember reading that and thinking, that's just dopey. So, yeah, it's some of these, if you see how some of these bacteria get around and do their damage in your system, it'll freak you out. There was an anime series that I just discovered about December-ish. And it's really fun because it's allegory. It's not actual. It doesn't really show how everything works in the body, but it's called Cells at Work. And if you have a Netflix subscription, you can go find it right now. And it's a wonderful way to show you how the immune response works and how the body lays out fibrin and heals from injuries, damage, food poisoning, cancer. It's a great way to show just how it works. Not precisely. It's not precise. It's all allegory. But it makes it simpler for the average person who can't imagine what it's like at the cellular level within the body. I love it. It's one of my favorite of all time. So if you have any questions on any other nutritional supplements, or if you have any other things that you're interested in knowing about, now's the time to hit me up. If you got questions, if there's just something you're just interested in knowing about, something that you're interested in knowing about for someone else, just let me know. This last 8 minutes is all about answering your questions. I hate the 10-second delay. I love StreamYard, but the 10-second delay is brutal, and then everybody has to type. So I imagine people out there typing right now. Oh, as a bonus fact, when vegans try to say, oh, well, we have teeth that are more like herbivores. No, we don't, because we don't constantly grow all of our teeth all the time. In fact, once these teeth go, this is our only set. They're called deciduous for a reason. They fall out, and we don't get another set like horses and cattle and that other thing. Plus they go, oh, well, this isn't good enough for killing someone. No, but this is, and so is this. And in eating meat, if you've ever seen anybody eating a hunk of jerky, one of the things you'll notice is that they will hook it behind their tooth, grab it with their thumb, crack, and break it off. And if you give them a big steak and no cutlery, they'll take it with this hand and that thumb, and they'll hook it behind this tooth and go rip. Because that's what these are for. Paleontologists are catching up with that now. I surmised this in 1991 when I was thinking about it. I don't go looking to see if I'm right or wrong. I just wait to find out later, or if I'm truly curious, like now with the internet being as big as it was, I will go and research the data. Inflammation in general, some good input. Did I miss something? I don't know. Oh, what did you want to know about vitamin D? Oh, and once again, as I said, inflammation is not damage. It's your body trying to heal damage. And it's flooding the area full of substances to help correct and repair the damage. It's very complicated. If I was to tell you what the inflammation healing cascade is, your eyes would cross. So that's why I recommend that Cells at Work video. It's really good. I've heard of Hashimoto's. It is an autoimmune issue. Yes. Every time your autoimmune kicks into overdrive, it's similar to lupus. Your energy level just goes down into the crapper. Basically, more protein in your diet because it helps with maintaining your body's repair materials, and also to make sure that your body is able to maintain a ready source of glucose. I know you're going protein, glucose. How'd you get there? Okay, for the people who want to hear this one, they'll hear this. We don't need carbs. Period. We don't store them well. We turn them into soap. Yes, soap. And your liver has a hard time dealing with it. When you go to the doctor and they say, your triglycerides are high, that's soap. Your liver's turned it into soap, and it's injected into your bloodstream, and your bloodstream is now thick as tapioca. And it's increasing your risk for certain kinds of heart problems. They don't really tell you as how bad it is, but they will divide the number by 5 and tack it onto a supposed cholesterol and go, your cholesterol is high, but it isn't. Cholesterol isn't the source of heart disease. But triglycerides is a direct marker of danger. And you shouldn't be consuming so much sugar that your triglycerides go up really high. And because your liver can't deal with it, your body can't deal with it. It's just an emergency means to get it out of there so your pancreas doesn't go haywire trying to figure out what to do with it. Because your body's able to turn 1 gram of protein into 1 gram of glucose as needed with no insulin. All right, rewind. Your body is able to turn protein into glucose as needed without insulin. There is no such thing as a necessary sugar. No sugars are necessary. Whatever sugar that your body needs, it can produce from fat or protein when it needs it. So consuming sugars is bad. And what are sugars? Anything that's a carbohydrate, your body turns it into some form of glucose. You don't need it. Now, you may have heard of the term essential amino acids and essential fatty acids, but have you ever heard of essential sugar? No, there is none. So more protein, higher levels of B complex, especially ones that bring your homocysteine levels down. I think they've done research on Hashimoto's and homocysteine, which means higher levels of folate. That's folic acid, which is a good idea. And I think they also did a study on creatine monohydrate. Taking 6 grams parsed out across the day helps with the muscle fatigue that Hashimoto's brings on. So those are a couple of good recommendations here. Daniel, I love that you're taking all those, but are you taking a multivitamin with them? Because that will tie it all together. Oh, and melatonin valerian root, don't take it when needed. Take it all the time. Every time you go to bed at night, take the two together. Valerian root is fantastic for helping you sleep. If you can't stand the smell, switch to catnip. Okay, yeah, catnip. Doesn't smell, works similar. Doesn't smell like a raunchy, malodorous foot. Okay, well, you need to up the dose because I give a gummy multivitamin to my son, my youngest son, Eric, and to my wife because she won't swallow a pill. So whatever that you're dosing, you're going to want to up it. And the one that I like the best that I've seen out there, which are stronger than the national brands, is actually the Winco brand. Once again, I'm not promoting their brand, but of all the ones I've seen, and I've seen a lot, and I've gotten free samples of a lot because I've worked in this industry for a while, the Winco one taken 4 daily is quite impressive. And it tastes quite good. Oh, you know what's even better for PMS? I'm just going to throw this one out there. It's called Dong Quai or Donkey. I don't like saying it the proper way because people think I'm saying donkey. But Dong Quai is fantastic for that as well. Oh, and just to entre nous between us, I love the name. People say Astragalus. It's Astragalus, which means the Star of Galen. It's Greek. It's great stuff for helping to boost your immune response. And so is cordyceps. Oh God, cordyceps is good, but ashwagandha is even better. And ashwagandha also helps with your mood balance. Ashwagandha is so much better than cordyceps. I'm not saying there's no use in taking it, just saying it's better. Oh, and if you're taking olive oil, I would recommend switching to emu oil. It's higher nutrient. It has actually all of the essential fatty acids and non-essential fatty acids. It contains, let's see, contains 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, as well as alpha lipoic acid. And the 5 and the 7 are important because though they're not essential, 5 has actually been linked through inferior sourcing to help block rheumatoid arthritis. We gave an inferior source called cetyl myristoyate. It's a myristic acid if you get the one from emu oil. It's similar in effect, but more effective at lower dosing. But we gave it to our dog, Phelan, who had rheumatoid arthritis, and we were able to get him off the prednisone and extend his life. He would have lived past 16 were it not for the Beneful food that killed him, destroyed his liver. Yeah, add in the ashwagandha. It's great stuff. And it's gummy multivitamins now are coming a long way. They're wonderful. The Winco brand, as I said, is really good. I still love Astragalus. It sounds so cool when you say it correctly. Honestly, between us, I've never seen a reason for spirulina. I've looked. I've done lots of reading. A good protein source would be better for giving you all the things that you can get from what they say spirulina is supposed to give you, including the detoxification factor. If I could remember it, the Himalaya, I can't remember what the full name is, something Himalaya brand liver formula does more for your liver, and it's better for you than messing around with milk thistle. Also, I would recommend taking your vitamin D separately and dropping out the calcium, because if you're worried about your bones, most of your bone material is actually collagen. Taking lots of calcium does not increase the bone density. In fact, in several cases, it's been shown that it causes problems with the bloodstream, with the blood vessels, and causes you to not be able to build up more. It actually causes constrictions. So minimize your calcium to about 180 to 200 milligrams daily from a supplement. And if you're going to get more from your food, fine, but don't go crazy on it. If you're worried about your bone density, vitamin D, magnesium, and the trace mineral called strontium. They've done lots of research on high doses of strontium helping with reversing osteoporosis. The gummy ones you just chew, as far as I know. You chew them because they taste like a gummy bear. The good ones now don't even have any sources that taste nasty when you bite into the gummies. And they also make gummies of vitamin C for the kids, which I adore. I got some from my son. Oh my God, they're like tasting like candy, even though they don't have a lot of sugar, and I don't have to fight him for nothing. I pull out 4 multivitamins and 2 vitamin C. I go, here you go, gone. He Pac-Mans them down before I even have a chance to pull my hand back. Okay, last question, and then I'm going to have to close this up. The only ones they put into supplements is the food grade one. So it's perfectly fine. The heavy strontium, it's like saying, there's actually different forms of chromium out there. There's bad ones, and then there's food grade ones. They don't put into supplements the ones that are non-food grade. In fact, chromium, you may have heard, strontium you can make into nuclear bombs. And the bad form of chromium is used to strip metal off of surfaces. Is called hexavalent chromium. So there's a bad version of every good thing that's out there that you're supposed to be taking anyway. I will, Danielle. I will. This is something that they've been pushing me to do, because I don't want to just cover your spiritual health. This is physical health as well, because your physical health is absolutely crucial to me, because tomorrow I want you to be there. It's a beautiful day tomorrow, and I want everybody that can get there to get there. I don't want what I was told to have potentially occur. To know that 13.8 million of us could just deal with the coronavirus to death and leave this beautiful planet, because I guarantee you, this world is more beautiful with you in it Every one of you. The whole world is better with every one of us in it working together. I don't want a single one of you to die. I don't have enough of a squabble with anybody to wish anybody dead by this disease, or any other for that matter. So please, for the love of yourself, this isn't very expensive. None of these things is very costly. The B complex was $3. The multivitamin was $5. The vitamin C was $3. Lysine's $2. I think the most expensive thing I've shown you here is the vitamin E, because I got the natural at 400 IUs. This was $10. And you only got to take one of each of these daily normally, except for the vitamin C and the lysine. This is all for you. I was given a gift and a vision for a reason. And I hope that just like those people who heard me about those fishy smelling grapes, that more people hear about this video and then see this and decide to put those fish grapes back and pick up the nice, delicious black grapes that taste like candy from nature. Because that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to get you to give your cells candy from nature. Okay? So be well, everybody. Be safe. Be careful. We're stronger together. I'm with you in spirit. I'm staying at home just like all of you, even though I've been sick, because, God, I don't want to find out if I can do it twice. Because that would really suck if I had to go through this twice. Wear your masks. If you don't have one, my roommate's making them. It doesn't cost that much, and they're 3 layers. Like this one. It's one of my favorite. We call it the ninja style. It's reversible also. And it's 2 layers of quilting material with flannel in the middle as a filter. So it's very thick. Some of the best non-medical grade masks out there. So until next we meet, stay blessed. May your steps ever take you safely into the future. And I love you all. Good night.